Senator Michael Bennet, Colorado.
Thanks for coming, Mr. President. It's good to see you. You talked in the State of the Union very well about a number of the challenges that we face as a country, which are serious. I mean, even before we were driven into the worst recession since the Great Depression, the last period of economic growth in this country's history was the first time middle-class family income actually fell during a period of economic growth. No net jobs created since 1998. Household wealth the same at the end of the decade as it was at the beginning, and an education system that's not working well enough for our kids. And on top of everything else, got a $1.4 trillion deficit and $12 trillion of debt. I was saying that the other day, by the way, in Colorado, and talking about how our kids were going to have to pay this back if we didn't make this decision that we've got to face up to. And my daughter, Caroline, who's 10, was there, and she walked out with me at the end, and she said, "Just so you know, I'm not paying that back." She has the right attitude, I think. But
just in case you're counting on it.
At the same time, this place looks broken to the American people. The ability of our ability to make these decisions is open to enormous question in the wake of the health care discussion in particular. I had a woman the other day in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, ask me where she could get her lobbyist in Washington, D.C. What are we going to do differently? What are you going to do differently? What do we need to do differently as Democrats and Republicans to fix this institution so that our democracy can actually withstand the test that we're facing right now?
Well, let me just make a couple observations, having served in the Senate and now seeing it from the perspective of the White House. First of all, whenever people ask me, why isn't Washington working, I am a fierce defender of the integrity and hard work of individual members, which is, by the way, matched up by, when you look at polls, people hate Congress, but individual members, a lot of them feel, are really working hard on their behalf. So the problem here you've got is an institution that increasingly is not adapted to the demands of a hugely competitive 21st century economy. I think the Senate in particular, the challenge that I gave to Republicans, and I will continue to issue to Republicans, is if you want to govern, then you can't just say no. It can't just be about scoring points. There are multiple examples during the course of this year in which that's been the case. Look, I mentioned the filibuster record. We've had scores of pieces of legislation in which there was a filibuster, cloture had to be invoked, and then ended up passing 90 to 10 or 80 to 15. And what that indicates is a degree to which we're just trying to gum up the works instead of getting business done. That is an institutional problem. In the Senate, the filibuster only works if there is a genuine spirit of compromise and trying to solve problems as opposed to just shutting the place down. If it's just shutting the place down, then it's not going to work. That's point number one. Point number two, in terms of how we operate, we as Democrats, I do think that the more open we are, the more transparent we are, the more people know exactly how things are working, even if sometimes it takes longer to maintain that transparency, the better off we are. And I think the health care bill is a perfect example. I mean, the truth of the matter is that the process looked painful and messy, but the innumerable hearings that were held did give an opportunity for the product to get refined, so that I think that the ultimate package, after potential negotiations between the House and the Senate, is better than where we started. And there was a possibility, and continues to be a possibility, to be in discussions with the American people about what exactly that bill accomplishes. On the other hand, and I take some fault for this, at the end of the process, when we were fighting through all these filibusters and trying to get it done quickly so that we could pivot and start talking about other issues that were so important to the American people, some of that transparency got lost. And I think we paid a price for it. And so it's important, I think, to constantly have our cards out on the table and welcome challenges and welcome questions. Now, if the Republicans say that they can insure every American for free, which is what was claimed the other day at no cost, I want to know. Because I told them, I said, why would I want to get a bunch of lumps on my head doing the hard thing if you've got the easy thing? But you've got to show me, you've got to prove to me that it actually works. Because I've talked to every healthcare expert out there, and it turns out if you want to reform the insurance system, if you want to make sure that people without pre-existing conditions are able to get insurance, if you want to provide coverage for people, if you want to bend the cost curve, then you need a comprehensive bill. Because this is a complicated area involving 1/6 of our economy. But we should be open to that dialogue and not underestimate the power of the American people over time, despite millions of dollars of advertising to the contrary from the insurance industry and others. We should not underestimate the American people's willingness to say, okay, I got it. And there's still going to be disagreements, and some will disagree with us. But we've got to constantly make our case, I think, and not play an insider's game, play an outsider's game. Last point I would make about this, you know what I think would actually make a difference, Michael? I think if everybody here, excuse all the members of the press who are here, if everybody here turned off your CNN, your Fox, just turn off the TV, MSNBC, blogs, and just go talk to folks out there instead of being in this echo chamber where the topic is constantly politics. The topic is politics. It is much more difficult to get a conversation focused on how are we going to help people than a conversation about how is this going to help or hurt somebody politically. And that's part of what the American people are just sick of. Because they don't care, frankly, about majorities and minorities and process and this and that. They just want to know, are you delivering for me? And we've got to, I think, get out of the echo chamber. That was a mistake that I think I made last year, was just not getting out of here enough. And it's helpful when you do. All right.
Mr. President, you've told me, suggested, don't pay attention to blogs, don't listen to talk radio, don't watch cable TV, and I followed that advice pretty good.